right, it's been a very interesting situation when it comes to SoFi. In this video, I would like to talk a little bit about what's happening with SoFi, the retracement of SoFi, and why I added a large position of SoFi last Friday. I think SoFi is still gonna go up. I think there's room to grow. And I'm gonna give you a reason of why I believe there's room to grow. There's a specific event that's about to happen over the next 7 days. I also want to break down and explain to you the 3 pillars of SoFi's business. SoFi Money, SoFi Technology, and SoFi Lending. Most of the money that comes into SoFi is from SoFi Lending, around 70 to 80%. Now, 80% of SoFi Lending is done on personal loans, plus or minus off the top of my head. I think it's very important to understand that SoFi has been able to grow for the last 2 years and beating expectations because of personal loans. Well, if personal loans are accounting for around 80% of SoFi's revenue when it comes to loans, and SoFi loans accounts for around 70% of total revenue of SoFi in general, what do you think is going to happen when we're able to reintroduce 2 types of loans to SoFi? So in the SoFi loans umbrella, you have SoFi personal loans, SoFi home loans, and SoFi student loans. While personal loans are going through the roof, accounting for around 80% of loan revenue, SoFi home loans and SoFi student loans absolutely took a shit, which accounts for only 20% of all loans. Now, if personal loans can remain constant and steady, what do you think is going to happen to the price of SoFi if they can increase their home loans and they can increase their student loans? Now, I know that I sound like a broken record and this is becoming a reoccurring theme of the channel, but in fact, there is still room to grow in the loan sector. And there is a very important event that's going to be happening literally between tomorrow and the end of the month. And this is what I really wanted to broadcast and talk about. Besides for that, I wanted to show you the size of SofiBank compared to the top 100 banks. And yes, SoFi is now officially a top 100 bank. And SoFi just overtook another very popular payment processor in the fintech space in web searches. So I wanted to bring all of this to your attention. So sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of this video. This is an article that came out earlier today. It says your student loan payments will soon resume. Here are the key dates you need to know about. Although it doesn't talk about specifically SoFi, this is extremely important to understand what's going to happen with SoFi. The pandemic pause on federal loan payments is coming to an end. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is set to rule on forgiveness. This is huge right here. The Supreme Court is set to rule on forgiveness. I'm going to get into it in this article. So you got to understand SofiBank in general, right? SofiBank in general, they have a $200 billion TAM, $200 billion total addressable market. The average size of SoFi loans for students is $70,000 and the average interest rate is 6%. Student loans is broken down into 3 tiers. You have undergraduate, which is just under a 5% loan rate. Then you have graduate, which is around a 6.5% loan rate. And then you have parental graduate, which is a 7.5% loan rate. So SoFi is saying that we have a 200 billion total addressable market, and that is literally the market that we can go after for loans. Of this market, some of those loans are part of the loan forgiveness program that was introduced by Biden, right? So there was a halt on paying your student loans, and then there's actual loan forgiveness. The loan forgiveness, if I'm not mistaken, I was watching the news, is an additional $20 billion market. So there's around $20 billion of loans that are up for possible forgiveness, which is a $10,000 to $20,000 amount. Now I'm going to go into the actual presentation. Now I'm going to go into the actual dates, okay? So if you go a little bit lower, many Americans will see their monthly expenses shoot up this fall. That's when the pause on federal student loan interest and payments will expire. The pause was implemented in 2020. So mind you, in 2020, we are currently doing 50% less loans for student loans than pre-pandemic. Think about that. Just think about that number. The pause was implemented in 2020 as a pandemic, and its negative economic effects swept across America. And Anthony Noto plays the game so good, so does the CFO and everybody in SoFi. They're like, listen, it's very good to make pauses. It's very good to help people out. If people can't afford to make the payments, we support that 100%. They're being 100% political. They don't support that. They don't give a shit about that. They just want their profits and bottom lines. This is my words, not theirs, my personal opinion. But they have to play the game. They have to schmooze. They have to schmooze. And they are schmoozing. They are playing the game. Anthony Noto is one of the strongest CEOs out there. He's absolutely freaking phenomenal. Every time I read up on this guy, I love him more and more and more. So they said that the student loan forgiveness was a good thing, but it overextended for 1 year. So over the last year, there was no reason for the student loan forgiveness because it's just, giving handouts out. Okay. 3 years later, the pandemic feels like it's in the rearview mirror and the student loan payment pause is coming to an end. However, this year is also notable for a few more student loan reasons. First, 2023 will be the first time that many Gen Zs who graduated college in 2020 and later will have to make federal loan payments, a change that will be shocking their wallets. So far, all these kids, they're not used to paying any loans. And the average loan payment, if I'm not mistaken, is like $600 to $700. So think about it. You graduated college, you're not used to it, you're spending your money on dumb ass shit, and you're not putting your money away, and all of a sudden, boom, you're going to get hit with the motherfucking system where you got to pay the piper. Don't see the loan shark unless you could pay the VIG. All of a sudden, people didn't want to pay. Now they have to pay. It's like my man in casino say, you don't have the money? Fuck you, pay me. You lost your job? Fuck you, pay me. You don't feel good? Fuck you, pay me. And that's what's about to happen with the federal government that controls 93% of all loans. 93% of all loans. And second, this month, the Supreme Court is set to rule on whether the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness package will forgive up to $20,000 in federal student loans for most borrowers is lawful. If the Supreme Court of the United States says it is, 14 million Americans are set to have the entirety of their student loan forgiveness, reports CNBC. Now, let's go over the key dates. June 20th to June 30th, sometime during this period, the Supreme Court is set to announce its decision on the legality of Biden's administration's federal student loan forgiveness plan. Depending on the decision, it's a day that will either be welcoming by those with student loans or one that will be disappointing. The Supreme Court of the United States typically been releasing its rulings on Thursday, which means June 22nd or June 29th is likely. One of the reasons why I made a play that I shared with my channel members is because of this decision. I'm not the only one that made it. Palantir Long also made a play based on this decision that's about to come up. I'm betting that the Supreme Court is not going to uphold the unjust ruling of President Biden. And the Supreme Court is going to say, get the heck out of here. We don't want student loan forgiveness. We are SoFi shareholders. We want people to pay the piper, and we want the revenue to come in for SoFi so we make a lot of money. That's what we want right now. You feel me? And that's why I made a nice bet on SoFi on Friday and took advantage of the dip. Let's go on. On September 1st, this is the date that interest will begin accruing on the federal student loans again. Since 2020, interest on the federal student loans balance has been 0%. But from September 1st, interest is going to start. And very, very important, guys. On October, this is the month that those with federal student loans debt will be required to start making payments again, according to studentaid.com. Okay. In the next week, we're going to get a ruling from the Supreme Court. September 1st, interest starts again. The clock starts ticking. Tick, 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 all the way up to October. And in October, you bet your bottom dollar, you must start paying. We don't care if you don't have the money. We want you to pay. I can't even clap because I use AI to get rid of all of the background noise. You guys don't even hear this. So freaking crazy. All right, now I want to read you something else. Remember, of SoFi's revenue, almost all of their revenue comes from loans. Let me show you. This is the revenue of SoFi in 2021. Lending, which is the loans, is 740 million. Technology platform is 194 million. I believe the technology platform is Galileo, and financial services is 58 million. Or technology platform is the trading crypto and trading stocks and other services. It's one or the other. I always mix those two up. In 2022, lending went from 738 million to 1.14 billion. 1.14 billion. Technology's platform went from 194 to 315, which is nice. And financial services went from 58 million to 167 million. So financial services is definitely growing, but most of them. So financial services is the crypto and stocks, and technology is Galileo, if I'm not mistaken. So this is where most of the money is coming to SoFi, right? So you have the lending, you have the technology, and then you have the financial services. Look, financial services, but boom, lending. Look how much more lending is than everything else put together. It's very, very important, okay? Now, most of their businesses in the United States. Only recently, they were able to get a small number out of the United States. Now, I don't know enough about SoFi to know where this number came from, but that's a nice 68 million push. This is SoFi's earnings, okay? As you can see, the blue is what was reported, and the dark gray is what was estimated. Now, take away quarter 2 of 2021. Quarter 3 of 2021, we were estimated to be negative 14 cents. We got negative 5 cents. Then we were estimated to be negative 16 cents. We got negative 15 cents. Then we were estimated negative 14. We got negative 14. Then we were estimated negative 13. We got negative 12. Estimated negative 11. We got negative 9. Estimated negative 9. We got negative 5. Estimated negative 8. We got negative 5. That means that we are beating expectations. Not to mention that SoFi is actually raising the bar. As you can see right here, quarter 1 of 2024 is going to be our first full estimated profitable quarter, GAAP profitability. However, I'm assuming quarter 4 of 2023 is actually going to be a full positive quarter. That's going to be a beat. And they're estimating that we will have a partially positive GAAP profitable quarter. Now I want to show you some other very interesting things. This is a list of top 100 banks. If I'm not mistaken, SoFi wants to be right here, a top 30 bank. Right here. This is where SoFi wants to be, a top 30 bank. But the funniest thing is, SoFi actually made it to the top 100th bank. Pretty cool, right? SoFi Bank is now considered to be a top 100 bank. Really, really, really cool. Now I want to show you something else. This is the ranking of websites. This is where you see if your website is doing good or not. This is SoFi. Globally, SoFi is up, ranked 385 globally. In the country, we're ranked 89 up. And in the category, which is fintech, banking, credit cards, we're up number 23. And guess what? We have now surpassed Venmo. That's pretty cool, right? So SoFi has surpassed Venmo in searches for internet searches, okay? Look, it's so funny. They read everything I say. I just said it's pretty cool, huh? And it popped up on the screen. Look, this means that everybody's always watching us. If you look on March, we were spot number 28th. Then in April, we were spot 27. And all of a sudden, we have a huge uptick for spot 24, which means that people actually care about SoFi. Now I wanted to show you one last thing. I got a troll comment when I made a video about SoFi. Let me pull it up, actually. Let me show you something. Let me pull up a video. Give me one moment. I want to show you this this message that I got on my last SoFi video, and then I want to respond to that, okay? 1 second. Okay. Good. I want to show you guys this really fast. I made this video over here, SoFi and coffee. Thank you, everybody. Shout out for the coffee. And I have this schmuck right here, Kevin Surfmore. He says Noto sold 780 million shares last Friday. You look that up, as well as 2 other insiders, as I am not at liberty to name being too close to the situation. However, that's all I can let you know this morning. Everybody needs to look into the facts, as you know. They change very quickly for any stock, and do your homework, not just watching YouTubers. I highly 100% suggest that you do your own due diligence, that you do your own research. And then somebody responded to him. I don't know who this guy Finance 411 is, but he called him a dork. So somebody says, don't be a dork. So now let's go here. First of all, he says, I'm too close to the situation. You can look that up. I don't want to disclose who did insider selling. It's very, very simple. SEC Form 4.com, insider trading for SoFi. And then you check Anthony Noto. Anthony Noto, on 5/15, he bought 108,000 shares. 108,000 shares, okay? On 5/5, Anthony Noto bought 30,000 shares. On 5/4, he bought 50,000 shares. In March, 45,000, 180,000 in March. At the end of December, another million, so on and so forth. Let me see what other dates there are. So the point is, yes, there is insider selling. There's also insider buying. Anthony Noto literally said, when there was an attack against SoFi, I'm going to buy up a shit ton of SoFi shares. And these people have the nerve to come out and criticize insider selling. Now, I don't know that sell that he's talking about. It could have happened. It could have not happened. But all I know is that Anthony Noto is a straight up gangster that said, hey, you guys want to attack my bank? You want to attack my company? I will spend tens of millions of dollars of my own money to buy up SoFi shares. Who else is doing that? What other CEOs are as confident about their company as Anthony Noto? Guys, that's my presentation today for SoFi. I'm going to go back to the comments right now. Let me know what you guys think. For my channel members, I will be doing an options play that I'm going to share of how to buy into SoFi or any other stock later on. So thank you very, very, very much.